strongly above performance ski. Push a bit, attack this lap.
Check the flag, check the flag.
Where am I? The temperature is rising, from the biting chill to the howling flames. Isolated, but I am not alone. We stand together. Take this fight to a new battleground. The island. We fight fire with our own fire. Hear our war cry. Prepare for combat.
Hello and welcome to the Mediterranean island of Sardinia, about 200 miles west of Italy, for the Enel Island ExtremeE, the fourth and penultimate event of the very first season of ExtremeE, a brand new electric off-road racing series that promotes the 3 E's: electrification, environment and equality, as well as throwing a spotlight on the fight against climate change across the globe.
It's been an epic adventure so far, and the battle for the championship is really starting to hot up with just 2 events to go. I'm Andrew Coley. I'm joined in the commentary box by Jenny Gow, and down in the paddock is our reporter Caroline de Moraes. Before we go any further, if you are tuning in for the very first time, if you've never seen this before, here is your ABC to ExtremeE.
The consequences of climate change are affecting millions of people across the planet.
Cities worldwide are going to become uninhabitable.
ExtremeE is an all-electric off-road racing series with a purpose, raising awareness of the devastating effect climate change is having on our planet in fully electric off-road SUVs.
In climate change, there cannot be one winner. Everyone needs to win, or we all lose.
Racing in some of the most remote and damaged areas on Earth.
We're really seeing what the issues are, but then importantly what we can do to help be part of the solution, making this world better for the future as well.
To tackle these demanding locations requires one of the most robust racing cars ever built, the Odyssey 21.
To have immediate power when you touch the throttle pedal, it's proper exciting to drive.
The ExtremeE side and the actual racing coming together, it's going to take it by storm.
With some of the biggest names in motorsport behind the wheel and a 50-50 split male and female driver lineup, teams will go wheel to wheel on the most extreme terrains, in the most extreme temperatures, driving the most extreme vehicle. Backed by a team of industry-leading scientists to guarantee we not only race without a trace, but we leave a lasting legacy at every location.
Wouldn't it be great to be a part of something that really does make a difference?
This is fierce and exciting racing with the future of our planet at its heart. This is the greatest adventure of our time. This is ExtremeE.
Well, ExtremeE's journey began in the searing heat of Saudi Arabia back in April, where the cars battled giant rocks and vast sand dunes, and we were told about the accelerating growth of the deserts. Then in May, we sailed on to the west coast of Africa, to Senegal's Cap Vert Peninsula, to highlight the problems of rising sea levels and also of plastic pollution. In August, temperatures dropped dramatically. We put on our warm coats and headed to the north, to the barren wilderness of the Arctic, and witnessed the retreating ice in Greenland.
And that brings us right up to the here and now, the island of Sardinia, some 200 miles west of Italy, where scientists estimate it will take 15 years to repair the damage done by this year's wildfires. We'll have one final event in this dramatic inaugural season. It will take us in December to the Jurassic Coast in the south of England. What a spectacular adventure.
Well, you've got the basics, so now it's time to learn about the event format itself. So, how will this wild off-road spectacle unfold here in Sardinia? Here is everything you ever wanted to know.
The world's finest drivers have joined brand new teams to compete in the ExtremeE Championship. Each team will consist of one female and one male driver. The drivers will compete in Prix across the globe, each highlighting a specific environmental issue. An ExtremeE race consists of 2 laps. The male and female driver must complete 1 lap each. Each team has 2 hyperdrive power boosts they can activate on lap 1 and lap 2 of the race. Expect strategy and tactics. Over the course of an Prix, the quickest team through the Continental Traction Challenge collects a further 5 team championship points. Day 1 is qualifying and consists of 2 qualifying rounds. In each round, every team does 2 laps against the clock, with both drivers driving a lap each. In both rounds, there are qualifying points up for grabs, and this determines how they progress to Day 2 semi-finals and the Crazy Race. There are also championship points to be won, with the top team in qualifying bagging 12 vital points, down to the last place qualifying team, who will walk away with just 4. Day 2 starts with the semi-final, with the top 2 teams from each semi progressing to the final. The bottom 3 teams from Day 1's qualifying go head-to-head in the Crazy Race, the winner taking the last remaining place in the final. Grid play allows fans to vote for their favourite teams and drivers. The team that collects the most votes will get the first grid position pick for the final. But there is a twist. The teams that do not reach the final can donate their votes to any other team, with the winners of the Crazy Race, however, unable to receive any additional votes. The top 2 teams from the semi-finals and the winner of the Crazy Race will battle it out in the 5-car final. The team that crosses the line first wins the Prix and claims 25 championship points, with the following teams collecting further points in descending order. All 5 Prix count towards the team's championship, and in the Drivers' Championship, competitors can drop their worst Prix result of the season. Who has what it takes to lift the trophy? Well, as you have already heard, this is the 4th and penultimate race of the season, and the first 3 were simply sensational. Championship is hotting up. This is the story of the season so far.
The opening round of the ExtremeE Championship began in Al Ula, Saudi Arabia, highlighting the issue of desertification. The series also made sure to leave a legacy behind, with the drivers helping clean a beach that acts as a crucial habitat for endangered sea turtles. Along with the steep dunes in the desert, Prix was a steep learning curve with 3 massive crashes showing just how extreme this series was going to be. Having survived the brutal duels in the desert, 3 teams, Andretti United, Rosberg X Racing and X44 had made it to the final. 3 times World Rallycross champion Johan Kristoffersen secured the lead at the start with a brilliant move before his teammate, Aussie rally star Molly Taylor, brought the car home for the win.
Nice job, guys.
Round 2 saw the Ocean Prix in Senegal, racing on the beaches to showcase ocean pollution and show how sea level rise will affect us all. ExtremeE also committed to plant 1 million mangrove trees along the Senegalese coast, helping to capture carbon and protect the coastlines. The final for the Ocean Prix saw championship leaders Rosberg X Racing and X44 line up alongside Veloce Racing and Jenson Button's team JBXE for the first 4-car battle. Plenty of door-to-door racing action paired with the brutal course saw the X44 and JBXE cars retire, but RXR powered through to secure the Ocean Prix crown.
Okay guys, thank you.
Round 3, the Arctic Prix in Greenland, racing to bring the world's attention to the rapid melting of the ice sheet and how it will affect our planet globally, with the championship aiming to play its parts by supporting scientific research while in Greenland. Rosberg X Racing arrived with 2 wins from 2 and were looking unstoppable, but during qualifying, the Arctic chill ruthlessly ended their hot streak.
Oh, Molly Taylor's rolled!
The semi-final races were filled with plenty of drama and passion, before the all-important final saw the first 5-car race.
5 cars then on the run down to the first corner. Up through the middle, Sebastian Loeb for X44.
9 times World Rally champion Sebastian Loeb opened up a huge gap on lap 1, and just as it began to look like the win was theirs, disaster struck.
The leader's got a rear right puncture.
With X44 dropping back, Andretti United were in the lead and battling hard against Rosberg X Racing.
Over the crest, they are still side by side.
The air they got there, incredible! Oh, the damage! Damage for the Rosberg car! With RXR left out in the cold, it was Andretti United who took home the Arctic X Prix crown.
Congratulations, guys, what a race!
With the winning streak over, the championship battle is getting tighter. But if RXR can bounce back and have a perfect weekend and results go their way in Sardinia, they could be leaving the island as inaugural ExtremeE champions. So, Nico Rosberg's RXR team leading the way at the moment, but so much can happen in the next hour or so. Let's take a look at how ExtremeE is helping local organisations here in Sardinia trying to repair the coastline around the island.
As part of their commitment to leave a lasting legacy, ExtremeE is partnering with the MedSea Foundation, a local non-profit organisation dedicated to protecting the ecosystem of the Mediterranean. In Sardinia, the project is focused on the seagrass meadows.
Seagrass is a plant very important for climate change, for protect our beaches, for the health of the Mediterranean Sea. It's estimated that the 30% of the Mediterranean seagrass, the meadows, are in regression.
So today we are here at the Legacy Project and we're learning about seagrass and healthy and damaged seagrass and what we can do to help it.
It's really cool to be a part of these legacy programs. We hear about them, but actually to be on the ground, I think is some of my favourite days when we're here racing with ExtremeE.
We have a very strong conservation status, but in some places we have damage created by free anchoring or illegal trawling, also for climate change. Seagrass are very important for carbon absorption. It's like a terrestrial plant, and so they combat the climate change. So it's very important for life in the Mediterranean Sea because it's a house for many species of fishes. It's very important for the sea life, but also for our life.
Well, this is the first time we come here and the first time I hear about the seagrass, and we're going to go out, see some damage, some healthy ones.
We are going to see the Posidonian snorkeling, so it's amazing exercise.
Seagrass accounts for 10% of the ocean's capacity to store carbon and can capture carbon from the atmosphere 35 times faster than the rainforests. To revitalise the seagrass meadows, MedSea are undertaking a replanting programme, identifying suitable areas and planting seagrass plants one by one.
It was really nice. I think we are here to race, of course, but it's nice to show people the problem we have.
To learn new things, to see what we could do for the environment, to make an awareness for it. It was very interesting.
For the future, we hope to have a very strong message with ExtremeE.
To know that what ExtremeE is doing is actually going to make a difference to these local charities and organisations is really important and really special.
And ExtremeE has joined forces with Countess In to launch the ExtremeE Countess In Challenge, a campaign for XC fans to take practical steps. And if you look there, you can see the leaderboard at the moment. JBXC leading the way with 438 steps. X45 coming a little bit close too. But our attention turns towards the racing and qualifying. Let's remind you of what's happened so far.
On to qualifying in Sardinia. The Santa Helena watching from the ocean side. Molly Taylor watching upside down again, all the way over onto four wheels, back onto the throttle and away. 2 events in a row, not what RXR needed to start their weekend. Veloce, a much better run. Emma Gilmore feeling more comfortable in the car along with her teammate Stefan Sarazan. They ended the session P3. Carlos Sainz and Leia Sanz for Acciona Sainz. Carlos had been pushing so hard in free practice. He was equally quick in Q1. Despite the bodywork hanging off the back of the car, Leia Sanz brought it home safely and they end Q1 in P2. X44 though, Cristina Gutierrez dropping the car into the bushes. Did it mean that they were going to lose qualifying for the first time this year? Absolutely not. When Sebastian Loeb gets behind the wheel, the 9-time World Rally champion worked his magic and somehow took 40 seconds back from a 10-second deficit. When he got in the car, he crosses the line 30 seconds up on everyone else. On to Q2, and Acciona Sainz looking to continue the good work from the morning. Unfortunately, a spin for Laia Sanz and car issues for Carlos Sainz meant that they would drop a little way further down the order. Worse problems, though, for Veloce. Broken steering for Stefan Sarrazin meant they would retire and be P9 in this session. Extreme with a spin. Unusual for the man who's just won the Pure ETCR Championship. A lot more dust here in ExtremeE. He managed to get the car straightened out. Him and Jutta Kleinsmith with Abt Cupra end the day in 3rd position. RXR with work to do in Q2. Molly Taylor, no rolls this time around. She hands the car over to Johan Kristoffersson, who chased the times down right the way to the finish line. A brilliant result, which sees them up into P2. Unbeatable, though, again in qualifying, despite Gutierrez's problems in the morning, no problems in the afternoon, and another fastest time for the pairing of Loeb and Gutierrez. X44, 4 times in the top qualifier spot. Is this going to be the weekend they managed to convert it to a win? Confirmation then of the standings. Loeb and Gutierrez for X44 at the top of the table. They take 1 crucial championship point off Kristoffersson and Taylor for RXR. Ekstrom and Kleinsmith are 3rd for Abt Cupra.
Now, if there's one thing we've learned from the first day of the Island X Prix, I think it's that this is rocky, rugged, a little bit brutal, a little bit unforgiving. What do you reckon? I think so. Let's have a look in a bit more detail.
Let's take a closer look at the track for round 4 in Sardinia. Multiple lines that can be chosen directly from the grid on the way to turn 1. Super bumpy, some fast, some narrow. Not sure which one of those lines is going to be faster once we see multiple cars on track. And then, of course, all coming together up for the first of our significant corners and into more bumpy, tricky gravel sections.
Yeah, really difficult for the drivers to work out where the big bumps are, where the most challenging points of the track are, because you can see it's sandy, it's dusty. So this is a real challenge. Much more like a traditional rally stage, I'd say.
Going to suit the rally drivers, certainly. This is the start of the Continental Traction Challenge. It starts and finishes with the water splash. Again, we haven't seen a water splash so far in ExtremeE. Going to have to get the wipers on if you end up with mud on the screen. I think we can expect that during the course of the racing. And as well, bumpy and narrow. It's about how much risk do you want to take. There is definitely time to be made up if you're willing to take the extra risks, but we've seen that can go wrong as well.
You can just see the vision is so limited on the outside of that bigger water bump. So that's going to be one of the things you really have to nail down. Work out where your wipers are and get them on quick smart.
Coming towards the mid and the end of the lap here. Again, rough gravel sections. You can pick the left or the right-hand side of the road. Try and carry more pace across the relentless crests and dips. Changes from both gravel to sand. Here, another example. The right-hand side you can clearly see is smoother. The left is maybe more direct, but can you go quickly over?
Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it? And they'll come up to, I suppose, the steepest gradient. This part here. You can pick your line. You can go through that scrub land like you can see here, or you can go a little bit more to the left, but that's the biggest point, a blind summit that you've got to nail to get yourself the fastest finish possible.
There's a very, very long straight just before the last corner coming up to the finish. Might we see some people using the hyperdrive at the last knockings of the race to try and take the flag?
So a very challenging 7-kilometre track in total for the Island X Prix. It's going to be fascinating to see who can master it.
Well, it certainly was challenging, wasn't it, during qualifying? This is Molly's role again. What's it going to be like for racing when we get to semi-finals coming up? Can't wait, but I mean, hard enough on its own if you're on the course on your own, Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, these drone shots really give you an idea, don't they, of the terrain that the drivers are facing, the challenges just in picking out the line that you want. Lights on there, just showing how difficult it is to see what's going on.
Yeah, a bit dusty as well. We're expecting slightly damper conditions for the semi-finals, which should mean that that's just a little bit easier. Look at here. Are there multiple lines? We're going to find out soon enough. The drivers are getting themselves ready to go.
Cristina, one of the best semi-final lineups we've seen this season so far. What is the strategy?
The strategy is to try to be the 2 first classified to go to the final. So we try to do our best, and we'll see, because it's very challenging in semi-final.
Everyone's been talking about the dust. Are you slightly worried about that, but do you have an advantage being first?
Yeah, it seems that it's gonna be dust, but I don't know because they try to put a little bit water in the track, but I don't know exactly what is the conditions.
Good luck, thank you.
That on the left-hand side is Kenneth Hansen. It's the first time we've seen Kenneth in the command centre. Timmy's father, who runs their team in Rallycross. He's the most successful Rallycross driver in the history of the European Championship with 14 titles to his name. Mum Susan is there as well this weekend with a title herself, so they're a very successful motorsport family. Chip Ganassi Racing have brought across their expert tactician as well, Jenny, you said, who's responsible for some of their many IndyCar title wins. You know, all the big guns are in there, aren't they?
They really are, and you can feel the pressure mounting in that dark and exciting atmosphere of the command centre. Some of the biggest names in motorsport stood shoulder to shoulder, and yeah, you can see in the middle, there's Chip Ganassi with Mike Holt, who's here this weekend to help and try and get this team back on track after a lot of bad luck and misfortune. They really want to have a good weekend here at the Island X Prix.
Drivers in the cars and ready to go. The pressure really is building now. There's a really good drone shot of those different lines. So if I had to put money on it, I think Hansen will try to cut across immediately for Andretti United on Segi TV, Chip Ganassi Racing. If you can steal somebody else's lane off the start, you know, they've picked their lane and they think that's a good place to be, you could maybe whip in, and tactically, that would be a great block. There's a lizard.
Watching on, best seat in the house. Now, I'm fascinated to see if anyone's angled their car off the start line. It'll take that large drone shot to be able to see whether you can predict where they're going to go. But this is it.
Attention
this
all
is the
ExtremeE
moment.
teams. This is race control. Stand by to start racing at the Island X Prix. Semi-final 1 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race. 1 minute, guys, 1 minute.
Big deep breath there from Katie Munnings, wasn't there? She shut her eyes just for a moment, and you just know that it's coming, isn't it? It's coming.
Loeb's getting a bit of a muscle rub back there. It looks lovely. So, eyes are focused, ready to go. Just a deep breath and be calm.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
30 seconds to go. Gonna get this one underway. Semi-final number 1. This is the first time we've seen these multiple lanes heading into one. Left-hand side of the grid, Christina Gutierrez for X44, Sarah Price for Chip Ganassi Racing in the middle. Right-hand side of the grid, closest to us, Timmy Hansen for Andretti United. Gutierrez with a hand on the dash already, ready to change that setting off the line. Is anybody going to use hyperdrive? They're all watching, waiting for that green. Here we go. Oh, brilliant start by Hansen. Great reaction time. He's going to try and take that lane off Segi TV. Chip Ganassi Racing immediately gets in. Door to door with X44. Maybe a tiny bit of contact. X44 take it. I wonder if they split their route there again. Christina Gutierrez is off. She's into the trees. Where's Hansen? Hansen looks to have gone down the right-hand side. We can't see anything here for the dust. Segi TV, Chip Ganassi Racing are down that central line. There is the X44. They're in the championship fight. Gutierrez trying to reverse it out of the undergrowth. It's an absolute disaster off the start. We saw Hansen move across. At the moment, we think the only car, but then Andretti United are moving. There they are. So Andretti United are off in P2, but our championship fighters, X44, have had a disaster.
Oh my goodness. So it looks like there's damage to the Andretti United car as well. So they're just going to have to drag this round if they can at all. So it's Price and Leduc out in front in the Chip Ganassi car. They thought they had the worst start. The car really dug down, but actually they stayed well clear of that accident and the crash and the contact that they had. Now, they've just got to focus because I think this is a one-horse race at the moment. We were so excited about the potential, but championship-wise, this is a massive loss for X44 if they cannot get that car going, and it certainly looked like Gutierrez was bogged down.
Look where it is. It's in the middle of a huge bit of undergrowth. You need to take another look at that in a moment. It is parked deep in the undergrowth. There's 20 metres of undergrowth either side of it. How they ended up in there, I've no idea, unless there was contact. So Hansen's start was brilliant. His reaction time was incredible. Whatever setting they had on the car. He launched it across and he stole that lane. You can see in the background they're still moving. So Andretti United are 30 seconds down. The top two go through. To be honest with you, Jenny, even if Andretti United break down now, they will have gone further than X44. But what happened at the start, because I'm afraid we did not see it from where we were watching. We have no idea whether there was contact, and if there was, the stewards might get involved.
Well, you can see Gutierrez was in the car and the boot was up. There was nothing she could do. So that is a really disastrous start for X44. Championship-wise, also a big hit as well. So let's have a little look at what happened in the replay.
Right, off the start then, there's Hansen. Oh, he gets straight into Segi Ganassi. Then he gets into the back of X44. Gutierrez, that's a tricky one. So, okay, Andretti United have had contact there, Jenny, with both cars. I would argue his contact actually on board with Christina now, look. Ooh. So she keeps the throttle buried, though, after the contact. So the actual initial contact isn't that hard. It's what I would call a tag at the start. There it is, yeah? But she keeps the throttle lit, look, and as she goes over the bumps on the right, Hansen ends up here, but she actually goes through the hedges, if you like, and deep into the middle.
Yeah, she's actually beached, isn't she, in the middle of that island, so she's got her own island Prix going on, which is not ideal for her.
She wanted.
This is a driver who's come back from a fractured vertebrae in the Kazakhstan rally. She came back to the last Prix, did a really good job there, but that's game over for them pretty much. They're not going to be able to get that car out of there very easily. So this is a shame because we were so looking forward to this semi-final. But look, Segi Chip Ganassi going.
Sorry to interrupt. I think Andretti United are stopped on course. So I think they've stopped on course. They're showing they are. So they've stopped on course as well. So as it stands, Andretti United would go through because they've gone further than X44, but I can guarantee you that's going to the stewards, 100%.
Yeah, the stewards will definitely have to look at that. I think it was very aggressive from Timmy Hansen off the start. Remember, this is the man who he dislocated his shoulder yesterday 3 times, had to put it back in. And I think the last thing he wanted was for anything to go wrong with the power steering or to have any big impact and crash. And that's, I mean, the impact's not too bad, but
look, they had no choice. They're in lane 3, which is not the good lane. It's the worst of the 3 lanes. He had to try to do something at the start. Everybody knows that the start is absolutely crucial. He also knows, don't forget, that they're handing over to Kyle Leduc and Sebastian Loeb, you know, who've been outrageously quick, and Katie was going to have to hold those off. He had to get in and give Katie an advantage at that point. So he's a very aggressive start. He's an aggressive driver, Jenny. You know, he's a very, very good rallycross driver, but he is aggressive. They all are, to be fair.
This is the difference in our backgrounds, isn't it?
Yes,
because
yeah,
you come from a very contact-ridden, you know, full-out aggressive
door-to-door,
sport.
in the door,
exactly.
get into it. Yeah, it's
Whereas
not allowed.
I come from circuit racing,
Don't touch.
where you know, you have a little bit of contact and the car goes sky high and you've written it off. So it's risk versus reward. For me, we talk about this a lot, but for me,
we do, yeah.
That was too much risk and a very little reward for the Andretti United team. And I think they're going to look back at that and regret it. And if I was a steward looking at this, you'll be pleased I'm not, I'd kick them out.
Well, there you go. So Jenny not sitting on the fence at least with that, and I appreciate that as well.
What would you do?
So I think they will need to look, what they need to decide. So the initial contact with Segi Chip Ganassi Racing really is irrelevant because they're miles out in front. So, you know, if you gave Hansen a penalty for that, it wasn't really harsh contact. The thing is, for me, the contact with X44 isn't very hard. So the question is, did Gutierrez, if she'd backed off, could she have kept the car on? So by keeping the throttle buried, effectively, has she crashed herself after the contact, or did the contact cause the crash? And that's what they'll look at.
Okay, that makes sense. You sat on the fence, though. You haven't told me what you think, but we'll come back to that after the switch.
I'm very good at that.
I just came out with a straight opinion. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, car 99. Let's see. This is Sarah Price handing over to Carla Duke. Now, this is useful information gathering for them. They don't need to go round at high speed. They can just go round and see what they want to do. And take it relatively easy, which is great for them. They needed some good luck, and they've got it.
Look how chilled they are. It doesn't actually matter if they take half an hour in the switch right now. They can do it, and why do it? Just do it. Right, another look. Hansen, far right of the grid, Andretti United. Watch his start. Actually, to be fair, the reaction times of everyone were great, but he's into... That's quite hard compact. Here, it's a little tag of the rear right quarter, but it's here. Do you see Gutierrez has kept the throttle lit? Unless she's had a fault, because to me, Jenny, she's a really good driver. She wouldn't have kept the throttle lit that long. It's almost like, here we're on board with her. Right, let's listen in if we can. I don't know if we've got the audio from it. So there's the contact. She goes over a bump on the right here. That kicks her off. But now, look, she's still accelerating, and you've been tagged. You can't just keep accelerating through it. So either the throttle is jammed on, or Gutierrez has kept the throttle on. So as I say, the stewards have got a really tough job, Jenny, because they've got to decide, did Hansen cause that? Yes, the initial contact. There it is, looking at it from outside. Yes, he did cause the initial moment, but did he cause it to go 20 metres into the bushes? I'm not sure. So
yeah, see, this is why I'm not a steward. This is why I just talk about it.
I hate to be a steward.
Very
Worst job.
hard. Like, let's have another look. So this is Gutierrez. You can see the input to her wheel. She's struggling like crazy to hold on to it, and oh, that is a big impact. And I don't think she realises quite how far into those shrubs she is, but she's really been launched into it.
Electric cars, you hear so much more of the suspension impacts, Jenny. So obviously when you're used to hearing the revs of an IC engine, an internal combustion engine, F1 or anything else, you don't hear things like locked wheels, you don't hear the banging of the suspension. If you're listening on board, and as a driver, that's really disconcerting. You know, I've driven in forest rallies, and you know, the noise under the car is unbelievable. When you watch an onboard video back, all you hear is like someone firing gravel at the floor of the car. But all you can hear in the car is wah, wah. And right, so we are hearing that if Andretti United were DQ'd, the X44 might go through to the final, which is what we expected, Jenny. So it's not over yet, but obviously it's not the result they were hoping for.
No, certainly not. And look, I mean, we're just seeing the finish come through now, and Segi TV Chip Ganassi had nobody else to race. They won the competition because everybody else was out on the wayside. They've done exactly what they needed. They've had so much bad luck. Finally, things turn around for them. Leduc brings the car home. Sarah Price in command centre. Chip Ganassi looks on. It's a strange and muted celebration for obvious reasons, but they will be delighted. It was survival of the fittest, and they managed to get through.
That's lovely. Sarah Price getting a big hug off Chip Ganassi Racing. They know it's not, you know, it's not a... The win on pace they will hope for later on today. Were they nursing something on that car and desperately trying to get it back without doing more damage and giving the technicians more work to do before later on today? Or is it just like relief and we can't believe it, it's actually gone our way for once?
Yeah, they've waited so long. If you've got a few minutes spare today, have a listen to the official ExtremeE podcast, because Sarah Price is on there and she speaks beautifully about everything that she's gone through. Timmy Hansen looking on, Andretti United car there. He holds his helmet in his hand. Sheer disappointment. Parents there, you were saying, for the first time. He just looks...
But he knows what's going on. He knows that there's an investigation. He's hoping that it will go his way, and I get that. All drivers do. It was really interesting. The interview with Kate was like, I think Timmy was in front, and I think Sarah might have hit him. I get that. That's what you say. But this is the result as it stands. But remember, P2 and P3 are under investigation. So will X44 go through and keep their championship fight hopes alive, or is this a big advantage to RXR? Andretti United might be disqualified.
Just to give you a guide, that was about a minute and 3/4 slower than the fastest time we had yesterday. So it's clear that that Chip Ganassi team coasted that. Didn't need to do anything else, but yeah, a bit of confusion. They wouldn't have seen the replays as well. We've had the benefit of.
I'm with X44's Dave Richards and Gus Batelli, who is the team manager. Have you got an update, first of all, on Christina? How is she?
Yeah, Christina's okay. She went to the medical centre and she's clear. She's good to go.
And can I ask, Dave, have you been speaking to the stewards? Do you know what the update is? How bad was the impact on the car? What's the update?
Well, we'll see the car when it gets back here, and obviously, you know, driving standards like that are a matter for the stewards to deal with and the clerk of the course to report. But it will end up like bumper games here in rallycross. You can't win championships like this. It's unacceptable driving standards, and I'm sure the organisers will take appropriate action.
Thank you.
Very strong words from Dave Richards, and fair enough, yeah, that's his opinion on it. So Hansen is across and into Segi TV Chip Ganassi Racing and then into X44. It was a very aggressive start. He is from that rallycross background, which is the reference that Dave made. And in all honesty, Jenny, I just think, looking at all the pictures and things, this is only going to go one way, really.
So you can see Segi TV in the middle lane. First contact there. X44 get the push, then there's a contact there. Unfortunate bump. This is a great angle to look at, and you can just see poor old Christina Gutierrez ends up stranded in the middle of a tree. And it's fascinating watching all the different angles, because I don't know if you agree with me at home, if you're changing your opinion as you're watching it, getting a little bit more information from the different shots, but My word, it was a rough ride.
So the right rear wheel on the X44 car is broken. And Jenny, I think, you remember what we said about Christina looking like where she loses control of it completely. I think the rear right has broken. So the initial contact, I think, has broken the wheel, and then she's a passenger. Here it is, it's fine, it's broken. And she's fired off to the left. You see what I mean? So I think the initial contact broke the wheel, then the broken wheel is what pushed her off, which would explain because it was a strange crash. You know, it looked like she'd kept it lit all the way into the bushes. That's because she wasn't expecting the car to go in that direction. Might be wrong. It's very hard for us to tell.
Really unfortunate as well with just where that car ended up landing. I mean, fortunate in a way, but unfortunate that it was a massive rock that ended up just going into the front of the car, and the damage that we can see on that car is pretty immense. Sebastian Loeb there. I mean, he looks quite chilled, doesn't he?
What a cool dude, isn't it? You know, that's just the coolest thing. Like, I'm just having probably a coffee, knowing Loeb.
Hope he's got suntan lotion on. Oh dear, look at that.
A big espresso, isn't it?
Foliage stuck in the side of the car. Wonder how Cristina Gutierrez is feeling right now. Let's find out.
Gutierrez from X44. Christina, first of all, the impact looked pretty big. How are you, and have you been to the medical centre?
Yeah, it was a very big crash. I feel a little bit pain in my high part of the neck, but at the moment I feel okay. I had one injury 4 months ago, and I'm scary about, but finally I feel okay. I didn't saw nothing. I only go straight, and I think we are first, but suddenly I feel a little bit push in my back side of the car, but I have nothing to do.
Well, there's an inquiry happening, so if the decision goes your way, you could be into the final. Do you think you can get the car ready? What is the impact with the vehicle?
I don't know yet because I didn't saw nothing. It's in front of the tree. I saw the car very damaged in the front of part of the car, but I don't know exactly the impact, and I don't know exactly how is the damage of the car. So we'll see.
Thank you. I'm with Andretti United's team principal, Roger Griffiths. Roger, I wanted to speak to Timmy. He's obviously upset. Can I get your thoughts on being classified third?
Yeah, I mean, obviously very disappointed in the way the outcome of the semi-final one. I mean, you know, we went in there with a plan to get out in front. Timmy got a really good start, got a little bit ahead of Sarah, and unfortunately there was contact between the two cars. And then from that point on, Timmy was really just a passenger, and it was really unfortunate in the way that he ran into the back of Christina in an X44 car. I mean, no intention to hit her. You know, we spent a lot of time talking to the stewards. They listened to what Timmy had to say, but in the end, they decided that, you know, we hit her from behind, and so, you know, it's hard to say that she was at fault during the course of the accident, and, you know, we have to accept that today is not our day. We're not going to repeat the win of Greenland, but, you know, we move on and fight for another day. And, you know, we're hopeful that the X44 guys can get their car put back together so they can take part. You know, it would be a shame that if they couldn't. So you know, anything we can do to help there, we'd be more than happy to. So, but, you know, very disappointed in the way it turned out.
Well, big drama from semi-final one. Andretti United put down to P3 in that, which puts X44 through. Mountain to climb. The other team's going to help them with it. But there we go. It's time to look at how the old masters and the young guns in ExtremeE are sharing a journey as vanguards in motorsport.
The motorsport community that has come together in this championship is quite incredible. It's second to none. So many different legends here in this paddock from all the different kinds of motorsports, you know, all racing together in this new series.
It's interesting because we are coming from the old race cars and now we are going to the new generation. So I think it's very nice to be one of the first one who has the chance to do that.
It's one of the first full electric series, especially on gravel, and the drive with a woman, so it's something completely different from what I was used to, and exciting all the time we take the start.
I have been around so many years that something must be different. Of course, the hair, but still I get enough excited to, you know, give it all when I'm driving and trying to win every single race.
It's not just established stars who fill the paddock. There are a host of young drivers rubbing shoulders with the legends, and everyone is working together to push the boundaries.
It's incredible to be able to learn and progress and compare yourself to these guys. When I was 10 years old and I'd be watching TV and then I'd see Loven and Sainz racing, it's quite funny to think that I'm now in the same championship as them. So yeah, I have to pinch myself sometimes because we'll be sat on the bus with them having a chat on the way back to the hotel. It's quite surreal.
ExtremeE, I love the crossover. Exciting motorsports with this purpose, this social cause that we're fighting for, which is equality. We want to lead the way in showing how in motorsports women can have the same opportunity as men. And I think we want to set an example there.
Through all my motorsport career, I was practically alone racing against all the guys. And now I think it's fantastic that we have 50% of women and 50% of men racing together in teams.
This new format is working towards the equality, sustainability. I think it was worth to be here and to participate in this championship and try to send the correct message.
Well, you can see we're here for a real reason, a real passion project for everybody. Wildfires, all sorts of things have affected everybody. And now we're trying to mitigate those effects and do better in Sardinia. A report by the European Space Agency in 2021 estimates that every year fire affects 4 million square kilometres of land globally. That's equivalent to 560 million football pitches, or the size of Greenland, our last race location, and Saudi Arabia, our first race location, combined. These fires also release an enormous volume of CO2 and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The UK government estimated that in the whole year of 2020, the UK released 326 megatons of CO2 into the atmosphere. In the month of August 2021, wildfires globally produced 1,384 megatons of CO2, more than 4 times the amount the UK produced in a year. With the aim of leaving a lasting legacy in Sardinia, ExtremeE has been working with organisations to better understand how wildfires have affected the island and help mitigate their impact.
This summer we have one of the most impressive fires in the last decades. We had an average temperature of 45 degrees for a couple of days. Then we had extreme winds, creating a condition for propagating the fire. This fire devastated more than 20,000 hectares. This is real, this is now, and we need to act now.
Climate change is making worse and worse the fires, and that's why it's important to be here with ExtremeE talking about the fires. Technology can definitely play a role, and EY has been doing a map that can help prevent and help be more alert and try to cut the fire as soon as it starts.
At EY, we launched the Better Working World data program aimed at tackling some of the world's largest issues due to climate change through the extensive use of data and artificial intelligence. Satellites have captured years and years of wildfires, and we are learning from those. The solution aims at building an automatic fire edge through the satellite images, replacing the work that currently is being done manually with an algorithm that is doing that in 2.5 nanoseconds. So what previously was taking an hour, this algorithm is able to do that nearly in real time and with much more accuracy. All the solutions that we are building are giving free of charge to any non-commercial institutions. This is a real example of tech for good. So looking at the future, there's hope that technology can help building a better working world.
Kristoffersen and Ekström are two absolute masters at the strategy start side of things. Yeah, they've come across each other a lot in, don't forget, in rallycross, but they're also both circuit racers, don't forget. They're both circuit racers too. So, I mean, they really are very, very impressive characters. Clearly, Carlos Sainz as well. Sainz doesn't have the same experience as them. He hasn't done circuit racing in the same way. You think how many years experience Ekström and Kristoffersen have got? DTM, Porsche Carrera Cup Scandinavia. Incredible amount of experience of racing.
Tell you what, we've been joined by Kyle Leduc from Chip Ganassi Racing. He's in the commentary box in Sardinia. Kyle, you all right after that recce lap that you did out there for semi-final one?
Yeah, I had a nice Sunday cruise on that one. That was easy. Got to learn a lot. Actually, it was
I told my crew earlier that was a bit of a cheating for us. We got to not race it and actually got to look around and see what's new, see what we can change. So it was a good time. Obviously, you don't want to see cars taken out, but at this point, I've been on both sides of it, so I get it.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, brilliant. We're going to get ourselves ready for semi-final number 2, and we'll come back to you. There is the lineup for semi-final number 2. Ekstrom takes a glance across at the RXR machine. He'll know that they're up against it. Don't forget as well, their teammates have been super impressive this weekend, Jenny. Laya Sands has been bang on the pace too. Yeah, this could be fantastic.
Attention all ExtremeE teams. This is race control. Stand by to start racing at the Island X Prix. Semi-final 2 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race. 1 minute, 1 minute.
A minute to go then. Nerves rising. There's Molly Taylor, will be taking over from Kristoffersen. Jutta Kleinsmith will take over from Ekstrom. Laya Sands from Carlos Sainz. Build up. Will this be carnage like semi-final 1 was or not? We're about to find out.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
So 30 seconds until the start of this race, and we'll see what happens in semi-final 2. Semi-final 1 didn't go quite to plan. So what's going to happen with these 3 behemoths of motorsport?
15 seconds, 15.
15 seconds, eyes to the green light. Who does what? Let's find out. They're ready to go racing in the Island X Prix. And the green light goes. It's a nice clean start for Sainz. He goes off to the right, but on the other side, yes, you can see they're following each other down the left-hand lane, so no contact this time. RXR seem to be out in front, and then you've got App Cupra. Sainz seems to be bogged down to the right-hand side. There's a lot of dust, which is really difficult for the following car to see, so Ekstrom having a real battle to see what he can actually achieve, and by going out wide, Sainz seems to have done a really good job of avoiding all that dust, but it's RXR who lead the way, and Kristoffersen getting into the first merge point cleanly.
Well called, Jenny. The dust there was so bad for Apt, wasn't it? He was right on the tail of RXR as they went into that lane, but with the vision he had, Carlos Sainz has got the better of him. Sainz didn't go fully right, did he? Went down that kind of traditional middle line that we've spoken about. Ekstrom now will have better vision. The dust doesn't look so bad on this part of the course. There's a few more alternate lines. And yeah, we ride on board with Kristoffersen as he heads up towards the Continental Traction Challenge. Will he have a crack at that? Remember, 5 championship points, and at the minute it's their title rivals X44 who hold it.
Yeah, being out in front, Kristoffersen gives himself a bit of luxury, but look, Ekstrom using his hyperdrive right now. That gives you an extra 4-second power boost, so he's trying to claw back the gap, and I think he used it to overtake Sainz, and Sainz is slowing.
So Sainz has gone slowly at the back of the pack, so I don't know why, unless, he's holding on to steering's broken, so the steering is broken. Look at the angle he's having to hold it at. Carlos Sainz has a look of thunder on his face, he's not happy. So App Cupra at this point, Jenny, they would go through really, so I mean that they could wind it back, but he won't want to. He's going to want to beat Kristoffersen.
Yeah, I don't think he needs, as you said, he doesn't need to. Obviously, Kristoffersen doesn't know what's happening. The radios, they do have a radio in there, but if I was somebody, I wouldn't tell Kristoffersen what's going on. I'd just let him go.
Kristoffersen's going for that. I think he's going to go for the Continental Traction Challenge here.
Not used hyperdrive yet, though.
Let's see if he does in this section. Is he on that wide line or not? They need those 5 championship points. He's on the slightly rough line. We're back with App Cupra and Ekstrom.
It's like a rough ride in that car for the App Cupra.
Look at the dust as well. Tricky vision, so he is out wide. Coming into that narrow gate now, have to get back onto the traditional line. What? There goes Johan. That is the cut line through there. He's definitely after those 5 championship points. He came in so hard into that first water splash. Jump in and out, look through here. A little bit of a rhythm section. Got to get this right. Get on the gas on the exit now. So going to fire it up over the line, and we'll find out in just a moment whether or not that's going to be enough to steal the 5 points back. It would be really stealing the advantage back off X44, wouldn't it, after the disaster they've had in Semi-1?
Yeah, they'd definitely give themselves a huge advantage if they manage to claim those 5 points. Well, we'll find out what the timing is. To me, it didn't look as lit as Loeb through there. Loeb was absolutely storming through that section, and I think he did such a good job yesterday that for anybody to come and try and beat that time, it would be a thing of wonder.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, we're lucky to have Kyle Carl Leduc on the other end of the line. Carl is down in the paddock in Sardinia, having just one semi-final one. Carl, you guys, Chip Ganassi Racing, are through to the final for the first time.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. Obviously, you know, we had it pretty easy with the start. We had some contact with Sarah, but, you know, those guys ended up wrecking, and we got to do our homework that lap. So pretty good, pretty excited. Obviously, I didn't try for the super sector, but I did. I definitely will say I've got some guns in the holsters with some lines I learned out there. So definitely ready for this main event. The car's dialed, me and Sarah dialed, the team's ready. And Johan looks like he's got this one wrapped up for sure. And I saw the science car. They did a reset yesterday with she lost power steering and did a reset in the pit, and he gained power steering back. So they may do that here at the end, or he may do that on track. So it's up to Carlos and the team what they change. It looks like an electrical problem for them.
Kyle, how impressed are you with your competitors here? I mean, talk us through what you could see on track. Obviously, Science have got problems, but what you're seeing with RXR out front, Kristoffersen, you know, you're used to competing stateside. Now you're coming up against some of these drivers from Europe. Are there any surprises for you, or are you kind of aware of them already?
There is... None of these drivers are slow. So you always come in and wonder who the bangers are going to be and who's the guys to watch. And obviously the big name guys are out here. And, you know, for us, and me and Sarah, to put down laps competitive with these guys is super exciting to bring home and bring home to our programs and our families back home. But we just haven't had the success that we've all deserved. So this weekend is, we call it redemption time. So we're going to head down, chin down, full throttle, wide open, Chip Ganassi style.
Love it. Kristoffersen then into the switch zone. Carl, talk us through what happens in the switch zone if you can, because from your driver's point of view, it's always fascinating.
Yeah, it's tricky because you just got to turn everything that you're doing off. Patience, look at your buttons, make sure you're set. Remind yourself not to start unplugging, not to loosen belts. Obviously, the switch, me and Sarah kind of have some audio contact back to back while we're going. Just patience, time. No rushing is necessary, and you know, you want to get in and out of there as fast as you can, but the team's giving us such good tools to be able to watch that time, to be able to get in and out fast. And the driver that's getting in, as soon as you sit down, it's just that relief of fresh air. Just sit down. All right, I'm in my race car. I'm in my element. Make sure all my stuff is ready to come out, and you got to hit your points coming out because you've got pit lane limiter, you've got some launch control stuff you can play with. And then you've got to hit it right when you exit. So there's so many things to process while you're sitting here. Never mind the competition side of it. So you got a lot of work to do in these cars. It's definitely tricky doing a driver switch and getting yourself ready for lap number 2.
Kyle, on your recce lap, if I can call it that section we've just seen Carlos Sainz drive through, you went through on a slightly different line and very slowly. Are you picking stuff out for the final? You say you've got some bangers, have you, to deliver in the final for us?
Well, you don't have to watch me that close. I gotta try to keep some of that stuff away. Nope, I did nothing out of the ordinary, and I'm just gonna follow the main line in the main event. Should be simple.
Good stuff. Carl, we'll come back to you in a minute. Thanks so much. So the switches have happened. Rosberg X Racing lead the way, then Abt Cupra, and obviously problems for Sainz Acciona Racing. Let's go down and find out exactly what's going on in the command center.
I'm in the switch zone with Johan Kristoffersen. Johan, you came off, you fist pumped everyone, you were really all smiles. That looked like a very good semi-final lap for you.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, my voice is not the best, but the driving was a bit better, so happy with that. But yeah, it was all down to the start. I don't know which line Carlos took, but I think Matthias took the same line as me. But then I saw Carlos was P2, then I heard Carlos got a problem, and then obviously it's difficult to be behind in the visibilities. I heard they lost a little bit of time, so trying to be safe, but also some bumps are actually worse when you're driving slower, so it's very difficult.
Thank you.
When it comes to this battle, I just want to find out what you're thinking between Rosberg X Racing and X44. It's a pretty intense battle, isn't it? And they are quality drivers. What do you make of their chances now we're in the penultimate round?
Yeah, I'd like to think that they don't have a chance against us to win this main event, but at the same time...
Clearly, Kyle.
They're strong. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm confident in what we do and how we do it, absolutely. And I feel like we just got to put it all together. You know, today was a great leadway up to starting on the main event. So, yeah, it's good to watch Johan start because I'm going to be starting my main event. So it's good to watch these guys start and learn a little bit. I'm sitting here watching and learning, and that lap I got to do slow was a lot of watching and learning too. So ready more than ever to get to the main event.
Well, we saw your line off the start yesterday, Kyle, and we're really looking forward to what you do later on. Congratulations on making the final, and we wish you, Sarah, and the Chip Ganassi squad a great run later on today. Thanks for joining us, mate. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks you too as well, for sure.
There we go, Carl Ledoux with some brilliant insight, Jenny. Interesting saying that, you know, this go slow isn't that easy and it's quite hard on the cars, and they're so, you know, they're a little stiff in terms of suspension, which sounds mad to people when you're looking at them being off-road. When you lean on them, they work, and when you don't, they clatter around. You remember how noisy Kyle's car was on board when we watched that? We're looking at Molly Taylor now, likely to come round and take victory, remember, in this semi-final, and put them through to the final in much less dramatic style than their rivals X44. You know, how's that going to be psychologically later on today, do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, that's for sure. Right, Taylor uses her hyperdrive to get up some speed going down to waypoint 21. This is the traditional route we've seen people use hyperdrive. So nothing out of the ordinary, but you can see her gripping on and holding on. I love the way that Carl would not be drawn on the, the championship battle between X44 and Rosberg X Racing. It's just all about them, and I do not blame him at all. I've never spoken to a driver who's going to kind of big up one of their main rivals, especially as we know this championship's hotting up and it's going to be intense next season. I hope we get a really good year next year as well, because this is in such good fun.
RXR just used the same line Kyle did. I love the fact that Kyle said you don't have to watch me that closely. It's like he's like, oh damn, they've spotted what we're up to. So there's definitely some alternate lines. I think the other thing is all of these teams are desperate just to get to the final. We've said this all weekend. This is the harshest course we've had. Get to the final and then just unleash it all. Just go for it. You know, look at last time in Greenland. Christopherson, okay, retired after a massive jump, but we want to see them go for it, and that's what they're going to do come the final, Jenny. It's going to be absolutely flat out, fully lit. We've got, you know, the likes of Ledoux and Price in there who don't have to think about the championship. The final is a mouth-watering proposition. It really is.
Molly Taylor just going down the incline section. That's where she rolled the car. If you haven't seen it already, you can check out the replays on the ExtremeE website. But it was a pretty violent roll again. That's the second time she's done that, but coming in towards the final now.
Yeah, so Taylor taking the wheel from Christopherson at the midway point. Championship fight was towards X44 very much this weekend. They still lead that 5-point battle for the Continental Traction Challenge, but a win in semi-final 2 with no issues for RXR, and they're back on track to try and keep that title lead intact. Brilliant drive.
Fist bumps all round. Nico Rosberg there in the command centre and a big smile. Great stuff from Molly Taylor. It wasn't so funny, isn't it? We thought these two semi-finals were going to be absolute rippers, but actually the winners of both of them have gone through with relative ease, and that means we are gung-ho for what should be a tremendous, I can't even imagine, 5 cars on the final. I mean,
it was relief, wasn't it, for Taylor there? We've still got later on, of course, we've got to find out who goes through from the Craze race. We've got one team to go through from there with Loche, JBXE, and XI Energy are in that one as well, so that's going to make up the final lineup. But we have also had an official decision come through. Andretti United have been penalised for that contact in semi-final number 1. Jenny, what have you got?
Okay, so the official steward's decision says the driver caused a collision with car number 44, forcing the car off the road. Having considered the matter extensively, the stewards determined that the driver is wholly responsible for the incident.
There we go. And what is there a penalty listed? Exactly what they say? Is it disqualification?
Decision, car number 23 will be classified in the last position of the semi-final 1.
There we go. So that puts Andretti United down to 3rd, and that means X44 will go through, as we see Apt Cupra go through in P2 from Semi-2. But X44 have got a lot of work to do on that car. Will they make it to the final or not?
Results of semi-final 2 are in. Christopherson and Taylor with an 11.25. Then Ekstrom, Kleinschmidt and the Acciona Science team pulling that car through to the end. You have to feel for them, but they drop out of the running right now.
Well, this is the extensive work that happened. And you can see Andretti United sending staff over, as they said they would, to help out fix the car of X44. Timmy Hansen really apologetic, saying, look, he'd broken the steering with the first contact, and then after that he was a bit of a passenger. Look how hard they've had to work, Jenny. Amazing, and great to see the teams working together.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's so nice. It's a small paddock, and there's obviously a lot of stress there and a lot of time constraints, but after the heat of that kind of first impact, you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so cross. Then it kind of dilutes and you think, actually, we've all got to jump in together to make it work. And look, the finishing touches going on there, and a round of applause from everybody. It's lovely.
Amazing. That is a brilliant, brilliant atmosphere down in the paddock, and there's nothing better than the feeling of when your rivals are there clapping and applauding you, and cannot wait to see. So X44 are going to be in the final, and yeah, can they close that gap down further? Hello and welcome to the Mediterranean island of Sardinia, home this weekend to the fourth and penultimate ExtremeE race of the season, the Enel Island X Prix. I'm Andrew Coley. I'm joined on commentary by Jenny Gow. In the paddock we have Caroline de Moraes.
And a beautiful backdrop, a beautiful setting to go racing. As you can see, Sardinia, a very different backdrop to last time out in the freezing Arctic and Greenland. But the final race is almost ready to go. Here's what's been happening so far.
Yeah, amazing stuff from our two semi-finals. This was the moment where Timmy Hansen for Andretti United got a great start, moved across on Sarah Price. He felt he had the advantage over Sarah and that she should have given way to him. Okay, fair enough. Unfortunately, he had contact with her. That broke his car. He then sailed into X44. Cristina Gutierrez, look at this, off a long way into the undergrowth, a hard stop. And in fact, Andretti United have teamed up with X44 to get that car repaired after Hansen was penalised for the contact.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Timmy as well. He felt terribly guilty, but that left the way open for the unluckiest team in the championship, Chip Ganassi, to go through from their round.
Yeah, finally a bit of good luck for them. Now on to semi-2. Different start lines. You saw Carlos Sainz head across to the right-hand side, and Ekstrom had tried to follow on the standard line in the dust behind Christopherson, but he just couldn't see, and it actually meant that Sainz was able to sneak into second, but it didn't last long.
No, it didn't. They had a fault with the car. Steering went, so it was a real battle for them just to finish. It left the way pretty clear, actually, for the pairing at App Cooper to get the car round and qualify into the final. But, of course, RXR leading the championship. An open goal for them. They were able to go through, try to set some fastest times out there, but most importantly, find themselves a place in the final, which looks like it's going to be an absolute cracker. Cannot wait.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant action so far. Astonishing. But, of course, we're here for more than that. We're here as well. We're on a mission to highlight climate change, and ExtremeE has recruited a genuine environmental icon.
Well, in Greenland for the Arctic X Prix, the championship was lucky enough to have an icon in the fight against climate change. Cristiana Figueras on site to see what ExtremeE is all about in person.
In climate change, there cannot be one winner. Everyone needs to win, or we all lose. ExtremeE has been very helpful to understand the changes that we must undergo in 3 different areas. Number one, these cars are actually pushing the envelope of technology and electrification of transport. Secondly, what is very exciting about ExtremeE is that this is the first motorsport that gives women equal standing as men. What is really here on contest is the professional experience of these drivers, which gives women an incredible opportunity. And the third thing is exactly what we're doing right now, is to help communicate, to be able to take the message and the understanding of climate change to much broader audiences. The viewership here is 20 million people. That is slightly more than climate change people usually speak to. What has actually brought a new sense of urgency is the past 2 reports from science, and the combination of the 2 has actually alerted us to the fact that we are running out of time at a much more accelerated speed than we thought. You will have seen fires in almost every continent, floods in every continent. This is no longer climate change, it truly is climate chaos. The last report has actually told us that we're in danger of surpassing the maximum temperature increase that we could allow for humans to stay in habitable areas around the world by as quickly as 2030 to 2040. So we are living in the most decisive decade in the history of humankind, and that is no exaggeration. We have the rest of this decade to be able to halve our emissions, and the exciting thing is that everyone can contribute. We can all be part of actually building a much stronger and more resilient society, and we have to. Frankly, it's not an option.
Well, the backdrop is set, but let's have a look at where the championship is right now, because this is a penultimate round and it's Rosberg X Racing leading the way on 104 points. Currently 96 for X44 and 93 for Andretti United. It's worth saying at this point, 25 points for whoever wins the final race, plus 5 points on offer for whoever can go fastest in our traction challenge area. So there's still a lot of points on the table. The championship for the teams cannot be decided, if our maths is right, at this weekend.
The maths is a big if, Jenny, isn't it? We've been looking at spreadsheets, we've been writing stuff down. Just know that there's the remaining racing today, and then of course the final round of the series as well. Christopherson and Molly Taylor leading, but yeah, with them chasing the gap down, the gap coming down by a point, it's just, yeah, it's going to keep it all alive. And I think what is also going to be interesting is Chip Ganassi Racing making the final for the first time.
I'm with Kyle and Sarah from Chip Ganassi Racing Team. Guys, you're through to the first final this season, and I mean, the form has not been reflective in the results because you guys are super fast, and I'm excited to see what you can bring out in the final. What is that going to be, Sarah?
You know, just the fact that this is our first final, it just shows how hard we've worked through the season to overcome bad luck, I guess you can say. That was also our first semifinal, so it feels good to finally get the monkey off her back from the rest of the year. So, you know, finally a clean breath of air. We can breathe finally. And, you know, Kyle and I, we both just played it smart and made it here. So we're super excited.
And Kyle, I've got to ask about the start, because there are so many options for lines, but it seemed, especially in your race, Sarah, where people were fighting for the same one. Are you confident in the line that you're going to take?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick 5 and go the slowest way around, just to be safe. No, we're knuckles out. You know, the team Chip Ganassi Racing is definitely here to win. So we got a little thinking here to do on position-wise. The last race, our race got a little rowdy, so we got to try to compensate for that and try to come up with a good game plan. So we're confident, the team's good, we're happy, sponsors are happy, people at home, hello, and we're here to race.
And it has got a bit spicy, very dramatic today. Is it about just going all out? Because you guys seem to be all or nothing.
I think the start is definitely something that's making everything interesting. You know, in our race, it was unfortunate that X44 and Andretti, you know, they had some severe contact, as well as we had a little bit of contact with Andretti, but we survived it, and that is the biggest thing. You know, when they hit, I was like, okay, please, car, be okay, and it was. So we made it through and we babied it to the end, and yeah, the start is going to be the hardest part, I think, here.
Thank you, guys, and good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, the command centre is the place to be, and the crazy race is what we're about to watch. Scott Elkins saying 30 seconds. So we have JBXE, Veloce Racing and Excite Energy Racing all ready to go.
We do indeed. Kevin Hansen is in the car for JBXE. For Veloce, it's Emma Gilmore. They're on the left-hand side of the grid. Ollie Bennett on the right-hand side for Excite. Remember, only one car goes through. Only the winner will make the final. The start is even more crucial, and we've seen the carnage in the other semi-finals. Great reaction time. JBXE going to try and squeeze Emma Gilmore across. Kevin Hansen gets the whole shot on that side of the grid. Gilmore changes the line immediately. Doesn't want to get caught in the dust. She's gone after Bennett. She had great speed, but Bennett was just there before her. She's had to back off and slot in. Now watching Kevin Hansen over on the left-hand side of the grid. Can Bennett and Gilmore carry enough speed through here to beat him to the merge? Oh, it's going to be really close. Ollie Bennett may well get there just before Kevin Hansen. Oh, Kevin comes through, and Bennett took a different line. It was a really bumpy line. He almost made it. Gilmore coming up with a bit more speed in the background. That nearly worked. It nearly worked.
That was fascinating. fascinating to see how that wanted to go with the lanes and the different choices. Gilmore reacting quickly, she had to, but ended up getting a little bit bogged down in it. This is going to be a great race, though. JBXE out in front, then it's Excite Energy. Veloce can come back from this. They need to do the tight left and then get on it.
Gilmore can't see, so I think she's backed off because of the dust, and that's that thing again about trying to be as far up the road as you can. There, it gives you a good idea of trying to pick your line in it. Great job by Ollie Bennett. So he's used a line, Jenny, that I don't think we've seen anyone else use up that side. It kind of was middle and then maybe off to the right towards the end. He very nearly got it done, and that might have given some of the other teams a little bit of a clue as to an alternate line. Remember, 5 cars in the final. Somebody's going to have to do something different if they want to try and make it to the front.
Yeah, it's risk versus reward. We talk about that a lot in this championship, but it's so true. Look, Ollie Bennett just trying to close down on Hansen. Gilmore wrestling the Veloce car down at the back. They've got hyperdrive up their sleeves as well, so they can press that button and get a magic 4 seconds boost to their pace. But Hansen out in the front at the moment, and the other teams all watching on, as you say. A conservative start, it seemed like, but actually Bennett did a really, really good job.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. Right, Kevin Hansen, he's jumped into the water splash. Let's see if Ollie does the same. He takes it a bit steady, not much steadier.
Getting a bit sideways, actually, into that. I'm not sure that's the line that you would pick.
And there's Gilmore coming through as well. Gilmore with the wipers will be on immediately. There goes Kevin now. So Kevin in the traction challenge section of the track, I think maybe not going for the quickest time through here. This is tricky for them. So in the other 2 semis, Jenny, 1 car goes out and you immediately know you can wind it in a little bit that you'll make it. But here you can't, because if anybody, it's only 1 car goes through.
You feel the pressure. That's why it's called the crazy race. You're absolutely right. Kevin Hansen is going for this, getting a really nice time for the traction sector. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough. We'll hopefully find out. But Bennett needs to keep up the pressure. You need to force your competitors into a mistake, and it's very difficult with the dust. You've got your windscreen wipers on for those water events as well, but just close it down. Keep on pushing.
There's Emma Gilmore coming through the end of that section. You tell you what, they're not far apart, Jenny. There's a couple of 100 metres between them. Kevin with a clear lead. He's going to want to come in. Obviously, if he can hand over to Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski with a good lead, plus the dust, that's going to give them a little bit of an insurance policy. Will he use the hyperdrive here? 42's under investigation. Is that Bennett?
Yeah, that is Bennett. So at the start, waypoint 2 is where they swing around, and I just wonder, he missed a waypoint yesterday. I just wonder if it means when he was trying to rejoin, he missed the target approach and went on a different line. You spotted it,
yeah.
And that different line might not have been through the waypoint.
Well,
there might be a penalty.
The waypoint for the final because it was great. So that's why we made waypoint 2 wider. It was so that's a shame, isn't it? So he's got lost in it. A number of the drivers have said, Jenny, haven't they, how hard it is to pick your line because it's so confusing out there with all the different tracks. So it looks like Bennett will get that penalty, and actually that's going to play massively into the hands of Hansen and Kotlinski.
Yeah, absolutely. They won't want to relax, though. They won't want to rest up too much, but they have got a relatively healthy advantage at the moment. They'll just go over this gradient, down the hill. This is where we've seen a few different lines emerging. I think they've gone for the slightly conservative option. I don't blame them at all at this moment.
Kevin pushing hard as he goes through the left-hand. You will have seen the traction challenge graphic top right of your screen a moment ago, and that's for that section between the 2 water splashes. The fastest driver for whatever team in whatever session this weekend through that section gets 5 championship points. And Jenny, at the minute, it's crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. This championship is winding up. It's really starting to come alive. And as the 2 big teams battle it out at the top of the table, that's RXR and X44, there's only a few points in it. At the moment, Sebastian Loeb did an absolutely thunderous part of the challenge yesterday. He's the one due to collect those 5 points for the team, but that can still change all the way up until the cars cross the final line later.
Ollie Bennett with a little jump out on the back section of the track, and Veloce are right with them. So Emma Gilmore has closed up the gap. Look, they're very, very close behind. JBXE already into the switch zone. You watch on the right-hand side of your screen. Bennett was so late on the brakes, and so's Gilmore. They're all pushing their luck there just to try and make it in. Kevin's going to jump out now. The seat goes in for Arlen Kotlinski. 45 seconds the minimum time. Well, Kevin forgot to pull off his comms lead there.
I think this is the opportunity all of the teams will see to try and get some momentum. So this is a replay of the start. You can see JBXE going hard left. Gilmore back on behind the car, realizes she needs to find another way through, goes right, but already Ollie Bennett is there, so she takes a second point. To the left, you can see JBXE almost level with Excite Energy. They're going down there. Let's look out for waypoint 2, because so this is the moment. So Ollie goes right, hard right. Emma comes in behind JBXE's team, and once again, the Excite Energy racing team miss a gate. They will get penalised for that.
5 bonus points is what they should get for the inventive line. It's a shame though, isn't it, Jenny? Because actually that line works if you took the risk over the bumps there as well. Didn't Emma Gilmore do well not to get sucked into following Bennett through that line? She realised and went left. And
Quick
also,
thinking.
she wasn't that far behind when she changed her mind and went right off the start after they got beaten by JBXE. They weren't that far behind, so there are options at the start.
Right, the fight is on. You can see JBXE out in the front, but behind them it's Veloce that are battling with Excite Energy. We can't see it right now, but I tell you what, it is close as close. They both released from the switch zone at the same time. Arlen Kotelinski got a nice lead out the front, but let's see what the others can do. Christine GZ is going to try and track her down. Stefan Sarazan, he's had some bad luck this weekend. So look how close they are now. This is great.
So this is Sarazan chasing them down. Here we go. Let's see how this is going to go.
I'm in the switch zone with Kevin Hansen. They don't call it the crazy race for nothing. You and Ollie were battling it out.
Yeah, it was a nice race. I was very happy to get the start from Emma. It was the main target, and from there on the course was rough, but we have a good car. I think it's very nice, and I heard the gap was increasing throughout the race, and to give Michaela a 22-second lead, it felt really great. So just hopefully she can bring it home, and we'll get through to the main one again.
Thank you.
It was 23, but it's already down to 20. So Christine GZ is closing that gap. But look at Sarazan. Sarazan, we know, is a real chaser. He took that incredible line up in Greenland. He's right behind Christine GZ now. Her mirror look on the left-hand side of the car, flapping around, so she's not necessarily... Oh, so close to that rock, Jenny.
Yeah, we had a problem with that when I think it was Sarah Price, that she is going so hard, pushing all the time, but it doesn't look like she's 100% in control of that car at that moment. She's going to do the left. She is feeling Sarazan and the Veloce car all over her back, and Sarazan really trying to force her into a mistake. It's only a moment of time. I think this must feel horrible for Christine GZ in that car.
Sarazan has got to get past. He's got to get past as soon as possible and try to capitalise on gaining on that time. Look, Arlen Kotelinski's made a second up on them now, so she's gaining back. JBXE will be watching in the command centre. Sarazan will take any opportunity he can to cut past. He looks up the inside line into this long right-hander. Oh, just misses the flag.
This is high danger here. There are big ruts that have developed over this track, and if you get in one of those, it can launch you off to the side. So this isn't the moment to do it. But as they round to the left, I just wonder if he made it past that flag. I hope he did. This is going to be the outer... Oh no, what's happened? The steering's gone. It looks like the Excite Energy team are out of this. They've had a crash. So Veloce are through now. What disaster for Excite Energy. But look at this. What can they do now? Sarazan, full beans. He's on the hunt for JBXE. Remember, one place. That's it. Only one car goes through to the final. Who can do this? Is it going to be JBXE? Is it going to be Veloce?
Sarazan's been released now, Jenny. We know how fast he is. He's got... there is nothing for him to gain by taking this easy. He might as well absolutely go full risk, full send, and try and chase it down. The gap's come down by a second there, 19 to 18. They're halfway around the course, though. He's running out of time to do this. I'm gutted for Christine GZ. Oh! Sarazan's rolled! The Veloce machine's had a wheel off. It's on his roof. Game over for Veloce again. He had to risk it, but the car has been destroyed. They're parked at the side of the road. Drama in the crazy race.
I mean, crazy race by name, crazy by nature. Arlen Kotelinski needs to just babysit this car around the track, which is hyper-aggressive. Look at this! It's an absolute shunt. Sarazan is getting out the car. Thank goodness for that. He seems to be in one piece. The car is certainly not. I don't know what happened. We haven't seen the images, but my word, that is a second big hit for Veloce. Remember back at the first race in Saudi. Let's see what happened.
So he's coming through the traction challenge section. Oh, he went, oh, look at that! It's one of the biggest accidents of the season. The rear left corner comes off immediately. The rear right broken as well. He's taken that right-hand line, the low blind, Jenny, to try to avoid the dip compression and carry the speed through. He had to do it. They had that deficit to make up to JBXE, and the car just got fired like a stunt machine, basically, into the air. You know when they fire a cannon under the car? It looks pretty much like that. It's a huge crash. He's okay, but the car is not.
I tell you what, that's one thing, that the safety of this championship, thank goodness that car managed to do a full barrel roll, and Sarrazin manages to get out the car. He'll be sore, he'll go to the medical centre, he'll get checked out. But that a nasty instant for Veloce, and it releases JBXE to just get out there and cross the finishing line and make their way through and progress into the final. This has been anything but plain sailing for the others. Medical team already on site and just tacking with Stefan Sarrazin, a really nasty shunt for him.
He's fine. Look, you can see just the way, you know when you can sense someone who's walking completely unaided. We're on board with him now, so watch this. Coming up, look, oh, just instantly fired, and that is it. 1, 2, and the camera fails, and I'm not surprised. I mean, that gives you an idea of what it's like. And this is Arlen Kotlinski again, sorry. Wow. Well,
it just never stops.
No, 3 very dramatic races in for very different reasons.
And it's Arlen Kotlinski who crosses the line for JBXE. A dramatic race. It was crazy as they come, but look at the smile on her face. She is delighted. She's done the job. Kevin Hansen gave her a 22-second lead. They managed to convert that into the win. They wouldn't have wanted to win it that way, but you know what? They are through into the final, a 5-car final. And this Island X Prix just keeps on delivering surprises, drama and excitement.
You said it, Jenny, about it being high risk for Sarrazin. You said it when he was in behind Christine GZ. She broke the steering and released him. And then he had an accident all on his own. But yeah, every one of those seconds had to be grabbed, didn't it? Let's hear from Jean-Eric Verne down at Veloce.
I'm joined by Jean-Eric Verne in the command centre, team principal for Veloce. That was an intense crash, one of the biggest that we've seen this season. What was your thoughts with Emma watching this?
Well, the first thought is it was a relief to see Stefan out of the car, so it seems okay. Then it's a shame. I mean, Emma did a good job giving the car to Stefan within the 25-second range that we wanted. We knew Stefan could make it at the end, so he knew he had to push very hard. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the accident, so I can't really say what happened, but yeah, I'm sure he was pushing. He knew that at the end he could catch up, but yeah, that's the risk in this championship with those cars. And yeah, I'm just glad he's okay and out of the car.
And Emma, my next question to you. He needed to push, he needed to risk it all, but how difficult are the conditions out there?
It's really difficult. The changing dust levels makes it so hard to know, because all of a sudden you've got vision, but then dust comes over and you haven't got vision again, so you're missing the ruts, you're missing the holes. Yeah, it's really challenging out there.
Thank you so much.
Well, from the command centre, just watching this again and hearing the voices of Emma Gilmore and the team boss here for the weekend, Jean-Eric Verne, of course, Formula E world champion, British Formula 3 champion as well, loads of experience. It's a pretty unpleasant crash to actually watch from a command centre, but it's good to know he was able to walk away from that. And just really unfortunate that the car bounced in a bad way for him, but JBXE through into the final, and I think we're all exhausted after that. Whew.
I'm joined by Stefan Sarrazin, Veloce driver. First of all, Stefan, that looked so intense. Are you okay, and have you been to the medical centre?
Yeah, I've been all okay. Just a bit pain everywhere, but it was a heavy crash. It's a shame. I was pushing to catch the car on the front, and small bump, but big effect, and I start to roll and roll. So yeah, I'm very disappointed for the team.
But you needed to push and you needed to risk, because in the crazy race, it's only one team that goes out. But in your words, what happened and what was the thought process just leading up to that?
I was waiting to overtake Christina, and when I overtook her, I start to push, like carry my speed. And they was giving me the time difference, and I was catching the car, so I was pushing. Yeah, I was pushing, but what can I do? This jump yesterday, I didn't have any problem on his one. Maybe I arrived at 10 kph quicker, and I completely fly. So
a difficult situation, but I'm so disappointed for all the team. I give my best, but didn't pay.
Commiserations and thank you.
Thank you.
Kind of gutting, isn't it, for Sarrazin? It was, I was excited to see whether or not he could close that gap down. He tried his hardest, couldn't make it work. JBXE do go through a course from the crazy race.
Yeah, they certainly do. Jenson Button, one of the big names associated with this championship, as was the man you just saw, another Formula One world champion back in 2016, Nico Rosberg. Just one of a number of really big names associated with this championship. So we caught up with him a little bit earlier on to find out how he's feeling about the championship and the season so far.
I'm with the founder and CEO of Rosberg X Racing, Nico Rosberg. Nico, I wanted to ask you, what first attracted you to this championship, and what was it about ExtremeE that you decided to enter a team?
Oh, it's pretty simple because we're really involved in so many social causes here with this sport, you know, and so it's awesome motor racing combined with really having impact, helping the fight against climate change with our initiatives, and also really being a role model for equality, having a male and female driver, you know, so it's all the right and important matters, you know, so this is really cool.
And ExtremeE has its own legacy program, but so does RXR. Can you tell me a little bit about the campaign and the project that you're doing here in Italy?
Yeah, ours is called the Driven by Purpose campaign, and as well as the legacy program for the championship, we have our own where in every location we try to really have a positive impact. And so on Friday we went into the mountains here 3 hours north, where unfortunately Sardinia has had the biggest wildfires in its history. 20,000 hectares were gone and so many families lost their livelihoods. And so we visited some of those families. We handed over a check of 39,000 with all of our partners to really help them over the next couple of months, more than 200 families. So that was really nice, and that's the proud moment.
And in terms of the racing, you must be really proud of your team. Another final, and they've come into this Island X-Prix as the leaders in the championship. But you're a former F1 driver. There's a lot of tactics and statistics and things that go into it, not just the racing. Compared to this ExtremeE race, how much is tactics and how much is flat-out racing?
Well, this is like second to none in terms of tactics. I mean, you're always judging the situation new, like in every moment. So you're constantly on the radio to the drivers, what they need to do, how they need to approach things. It's really like, it's extreme, as the name says.
And how much of this has been enjoyable for you as team, I guess the founder and owner, to be able to have meetings with your drivers and sit back and not be the driver for once?
No, it's nice to be in this different role and to have a look from the outside. And of course, I have so much experience in all these different areas, so I hope to be able to contribute quite a lot. But also it's nerve-wracking, huh? Like from the outside, my goodness, when the car is out on the track and you see it flying through the air, it's like, it's intense.
Thank you so much and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Time for the final, and I tell you what, we've already had grid play where the drivers nominate who they want to select their grid spot first. There was a lot of tomfoolery and joking around, really nice atmosphere. But there you can see Timmy Hansen donating his votes across to X44 by way of an apology to say, sorry for taking you out, but you got through there anyway. So we are ready to go racing. Let's head down to the paddock and Caroline de Moraes.
I'm on the pre-grid for the final in a very wet Sardinia. We're hoping that this might keep the dust at bay. I'm here with RXR's Molly Taylor. Molly, it turns out that your main competitors are going to be in this final. What can you do to maximise your getaway off the line?
Yeah, I just think we have to have a good reaction and pedal to the metal, and that's about all we can do, and yeah, see where we end up.
Well, brilliant. Good luck.
Thank you.
If we make our way through here. Now, JBXE, they won the crazy race, and we can see here that Michaela is getting buckled in. Michaela, you won the crazy race. You're in yet another final after coming second in Greenland. How confident are you going into the Island X-Prix final?
I mean, we feel confident. I think we show good pace. But I mean, starting from position number 5 is going to be really tough now in the race, but we're going to give everything just like we always do.
Thank you and good luck.
Well, the driver interviews, they're ready to go, and rain coming down, which really makes things interesting. They haven't had to experience these conditions in the wet.
It's perfect, though, isn't it, really? I don't think, looking at the pictures we're seeing now, I'd say it's potentially eased off a little bit. And, oh, OK, it looks damp on the grid, doesn't it? Eat your words, Coley.
They have had bucket loads of rain. Look, all of the little ridges and holes are filled up with water. We had 2 water events here before. Now we've got a lot
Attention all
more.
ExtremeE teams, This is race control. Stand by to start racing at the Enel X Island X Prix. The final is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Well, we've had the traction challenge all weekend, haven't we? And now we really are looking at a traction challenge off the line. Definitely, if it's wetter there, that could affect the grip levels off. We know it's absolutely crucial, the start, Jenny. We've seen carnage in one, and in the other we saw a bit of dust. I do think the heavy rain will mean that you won't get the problem that Ekstrom had in his semi-final. Look as well, the light levels are lower. Might be a bit more difficult to pick out the changes in surface and in grip level.
So from the left to right, as we're looking from behind the cars, it's Abt Cupra, Kleinschmidt, X44, Loeb, Chip Ganassi Racing with Carl Leduc, Taylor in the RXR leading the championship at the moment, and then to the right, as you're looking at it now, JBXE with Arlen Kotelinski. So the rain comes down. We are ready for the Island X Prix in Sardinia. Lights gonna go out. You're watching for the green light, and then 5 cars will go racing. So we are off. Oh, it's a stall start for the Abt Cupra team. They're going nowhere. X44 out to the left. Is there going to be contact? Yes, a bit of contact there before JBXE and RXR. But if you just look through, Leduc and Price have gone, and they have gone fast. A very different line. They need to cut back to the left to go through the waypoint. But at the moment, it looks like it is X44 leading the way. They're going to get the join in. Oh, look at that sliding through, and it's the Segi TV team. They have got the lead of this. Leduc out there. We know he's a ram raider. JBXE have had a spin there. Arlen Kotelinski's going to have to get going, and it looks like Kleinschmidt's managed to get going for the Abt Cupra team as well, but Leduc out in front.
How has he managed to pull that off on that line? Carl Leduc came in. We saw from the distance shot, he just got them at the merge. It was super close between them. So now we've got 2 of the fastest and most spectacular drivers out front. Carl Leduc told us earlier on when we were talking to him in commentary that he was going to go for the Continental Traction Challenge in the final. And Jenny, he's in the perfect position to do it. Get in there, send it, Kyle, come on.
Yeah, he really is. 5 points on offer for that as they go through the first water jump. You'll see that's when the clock starts ticking, but I can tell you what, Sebastian Loeb is hunting him down. Remember, 2 laps around here. They do a driver switch in between. These are the guys that started. There's a puncture, front left puncture. I think it's a slow puncture on the car for Loeb.
I think you might be right, Jenny. They've had TQ 4 times, and it looks like again, 4 times, and it looks like they are potentially going to have an issue again. It is front left, so they're going to have to change that one. They don't have to. They could continue on it if they think they can continue on it for the entire run. Let's see how much time Loeb loses. Conditions have really changed. The rain was much heavier than we thought. Look, mud splashing up here. Leduc drops down now into the first of those water splashes. What line's he going to take, and is he going to use the hyperdrive here? Ah, they're going to have to change that. Surely, Jenny, it'll be off the rim if he's not careful.
He's just going to have to try and nurse it a little bit to get round, because at this stage you can't lose the car halfway round this track. But I tell you what, they are catching. Kleinschmidt doing really well to try and pull back some of that lead. X44 out in front. Look at Loeb go. Oh, sorry, in second. Look at him go, though, just trying to close down, but he's got that puncture. This is going to be really hard to navigate now.
Kleinschmidt's done well, hasn't she, to get right onto the back of Molly Taylor. Whether or not she can find a way through. There's Loeb's line. That, though, the bump which seemed flatter yesterday, that's the one which caught out earlier on Stefan Sarazan, that enormous crash. Oh, Loeb now, is he struggling? I think he's broken the steering. Loeb's steering is broken. X44 are out in the championship fight. The damage is done. The tyre was off the rim, and then the impacts are just too big. I saw him going straight on in the water splash, and they are out of the final. 4 top qualifiers and 4 no results.
A real big hit for their championship challenge as well. They were on 96 points behind RXR on 104. Now, if you are in that RXR car, you've got to think sensibly. You've got to think about the championship. You've got to bring it home. You can't do anything too spectacular now. Let the wind go. Let Segi TV and Carl Leduc go, surely.
I don't know, Jenny. I don't know. Now I'm sitting here thinking, what about the 5 points available for the Traction Challenge? Remember, at the minute, X44 have got those points, so those 5 will get added on at the end of this race, which would bring the gap down to 3. But then obviously the difference between a win is 25 and P2 is 19. I mean, you could stretch it if you can take the win. I think Kristoffersson might go for it. Let's see.
Well, you know him better. I'm just trying to work out 2 cars going in 2 very different directions here. So have we got a very different route? There's Loeb, can't go anywhere. Kleinschmidt using hyperdrive. I'd love to see a longer shot so we can work out what's going on. But definitely a very different direction there for the other car, catching on RXR.
I'm looking at how far up the road Kyle Leduc is. According to this, Taylor's 32 seconds back on the lead. If that's the case, that is an absolutely monstrous lead that Leduc has built up. On Taylor, it doesn't seem to be an issue on there. Kleinschmidt's right with them. It's going to be Kristoffersson versus ExtremeE at least for P2, but they will try and chase Price down. But Price is a class act. I think if Leduc comes in with a lead like this, Jenny, it'll be tough to get back to them. It
will do, but I tell you what, Kleinschmidt closing down Taylor at the moment, really going for it. Kleinschmidt using a very different line, have an absolute bonsai chance. So this will be into the switch zone. It's wet down there. You've got to hit your braking point, otherwise you get penalised. That's what Leduc's done.
And hard work in these conditions. Remember, they've been able to brake super late and hard. We know it's cut up a little bit, but with there being a greasy surface now, I didn't hear what Leduc said. Just judging that braking zone is even more important. How close is Kleinschmidt and Abt Cooper to the back of Taylor and RXR? Going to be a brilliant race between these two. It's going to be a race in the switch zone as well.
Considering that they stalled off the front, had a problem getting away, and they've made up so much time, they've done a great job. Right, switch zone. Okay, so we have 45 seconds minimum on the clock. Just having a look around the front, 1 mechanic is allowed in there to be the technician and make sure the car's okay. They'll switch over drivers. Oh, look at this race into the switch zone. That is as close as you can like it. Oh!
Almost a pass on the way in. Kleinschmidt had to adjust her line a bit there as coming in these greasy conditions.
She's a wily old fox, isn't she? She knows what she's doing. She's got a few Dakar tricks, having won outright in the past.
I'm just thinking what slots they're going into for their changeovers. So although you have to stop for the 45, obviously you can then accelerate hard up to the limit of 30 kilometers an hour. Now, RXR are a long way further down, so I don't think you're going to get like a pit lane scenario where someone tries to get in front. They have to stop for 45 anyway, but it's so close between them that the stop and the getaway are important.
Right, they're already out of there. Carl Leduc, you can see, has handed over to Sarah Price. They said ideally, when we spoke to him yesterday, you'd have the first stop in the switch zone. They have switch zone number 4. But he won't mind. He's left his teammate to do the work out there and given her a healthy advantage. Healthy
is the understatement of the year. I was just thinking as we saw Sarah pull out, I'm like, hang on a minute, the others haven't stopped. Timing screen is showing 45.6 back to RXR and 46.3 back to Abt Cooper. He's given them a lead. He's given Sarah Price a lead of more than the switch zone time limit. Brilliant drive by Carl Leduc, inspired, particularly off the start. I can't wait to see another look at the start.
So let's take a look then at what happens on the out of here, because we know that RXR with Kristoffersson came in just a tiny bit ahead of the Abt Cooper car. So we've got ExtremeE gonna race against Kristoffersson for second place to see if they can hunt down Chip Ganassi and the lead car.
Arlen Kotlinski's only just come in. They're a minute and 40 down, JBXE. So with X44 out, they will get a P4. But, yeah, they've had issues of their own, obviously. Sarah Price released now into the track. What can she do here? She's got an absolutely massively brilliant job by this man.
I'm in the switch zone with Kyle Leduc. Kyle leading the race. Phenomenal performance, treacherous conditions. Can Sarah keep up?
Yeah, I think so. I think I may have took a couple hits with the front of the truck that I probably shouldn't have, but really slippery. When you see this shiny part behind you, it is so slippery wet. But we had a great start, had a good turn into at the gate 2. Sebastian obviously had to lift for me a little bit there, but we got there first. So we were on the spot, and he was close. I saw him there a couple times in the window, and
broken steering.
That's fun.
Broken
that's
steering.
What I look for. So that was amazing.
Segi TV, Chip Ganassi
Okay,
Racing.
thank you.
The steering is broken out in the course. Sarah Price has come to a halt while we were talking to Kyle Leduc. This is unbelievable. No.
Their bad luck continues. They've been beset with it. They had such a big lead, and this is heartbreak for that team once again. Oh, Chip Ganassi, we were watching on and just feeling that there is no luck left for them. And this leaves the way, doesn't it, for this battle Now between RXR and the App Cupra team, they'll see the stricken car there on the right, the Segi TV car with its windscreen wipers going. RXR could have the potential now of going out there with Kristoffersson and trying to get 5 points from that Jackson Challenge section as well.
Jenny, they've lost a door. App Cupra have lost the door. There's tape at the top. We suggest it was only held on slightly anyway. Let's see if we Ekstrom through the water splash. He could be taking on litres here. Look at that. The door is completely gone from the side of the App Cupra machine. I'm gutted for Segi TV. They do not deserve that. Chip Ganassi Racing, they deserve the win here, but still, RXR out in front into the water splash. I can't see Ekstrom doing that. Here we go. He's going to come in now. So what approach is Ekstrom going to take? He's going to go tight on the left-hand side, try and avoid getting the water into the car. He's so clever, Ekstrom. He just knows it, but it's going to cost him, Jenny, in terms of the fight with Johan in front of him.
Yeah, it really is. Kristoffersson, I think, is trying to go for the traction challenge points. Remember, it's an extra 5 points. This was the super sector, been renamed this time out, but we've seen some cars have an absolute disaster in trying to get that pace through this very rugged and rocky terrain. So it's a high risk here, and Kristoffersson might think, actually, I just want the 25 points for winning this.
I think as well, Jenny, you've got to look at the mud now. I don't think it's on. So thinking about it, I don't think it will be on. Look how damp this corner is. You would risk way more than it's worth for the 5 points. So they're going to give up the 5 points to X44 on that. I'm sure Loeb will win that with his unbelievable drives through there on day one. He really was good. Ekstrom slowly through the water again. How did they lose a door? Well, I mean, it was there when they stalled at the start. I mean, they say they stalled at the start. We don't know if maybe the car wasn't in drive when they left the line. Look at this incredible pictures.
It's very careless to lose a door off a car. That's all I'm going to say. What happened? Oh no, JBXC as well. They're having problems as well for Kevin Hansen. Oh dear, this is a very aggressive track. We've seen that all weekend. The cars are struggling, the drivers are struggling. Ekstrom struggling out there. It looks like the car's getting bogged down, but look at this, our championship leaders making it look almost effortless. Kristoffersson's such a master. You know him well, Andrew. You know he's got all the skills for this championship and more.
There will have been tactics through the course of the weekend for them to try to get themselves in this position now. As you see Ekstrom using the hyperdrive with the door off, it's like an episode of Mad Max. It's just absolutely insane.
It really is, but they're doing all they can. Ekstrom, a fantastic driver as well. Windscreen wipers on. And he's just sliding around on this track, as is Kristoffersson. So it looks like the RXR team on their way heading back. We've got a blind summit for them to navigate through. We know Molly Taylor on her turn during the sessions in qualifying managed to spin it and roll it once again, a full 360. Let's see what Kristoffersson does down the same point. Nicely done, I think. No chance of a roll there, taking it relatively easy, and he knows now big points on offer.
Super careful drive on the run down the hill. He used the hyperdrive on the run up to it. They came here, of course, as championship leaders, had that absolute disaster in Q1 when Molly rolled the car and they thought, no, what's in store this weekend? X44 took the top qualifier. They're probably going to take those 5 bonus points, but they're not going to take the victory. RXR have done it when it counts. Kristoffersson and Taylor take their 3rd win of the year and with a commanding lead in this ExtremeE championship. Fist pump from Kristoffersson, job done in the hardest of conditions right at the end of the weekend, and a brilliant, brilliant performance by the whole team. Look what it means to them.
The emotions there, palpable. I think that means they'll have a 28-point lead in the championship, but you have to say hats off to this team. Stalled at the finishing line, couldn't start, but now it is up to App Cupra to cross this line. They don't have a door, they have mud all over them. They don't even care, because you know what? They're going to get 2nd spot when it comes to this, and they have done an epic job. Well done to them.
It was the look across from Ekstrom. He sort of had a glance across, didn't he, as he crossed the line to go, where is the door? Like, just a really nonchalant little look. It was, yeah, brilliant.
Oh, I love that.
What a performance, though, by these guys. RXR, Taylor, and then Kristoffersson. They didn't get the perfect start at all. It was a bit of a battle for them on the first lap, but they kept themselves out of trouble. And then, of course, when trouble hit for Segi TV Chip Ganassi Racing, hats off to them, because I'll be honest, they've never deserved a win more than they deserved it today. The lead was incredible, but they didn't get it. It's these guys who got it. RXR, Rosberg X Racing, and here's the man himself.
I'm with Nico Rosberg of RXI. They've just won it again, and I mean, I can see how pleased you are. You must be proud.
What a crazy weekend. I mean, it's extreme, which the name says it all, you know? It's like all over the place. It's so tough out there, the conditions, and I mean, the team just did such an amazing job to manage everything, both drivers, you know, Johan, Molly, the way they managed it, awesome. Bernardo, Kimmo, everybody together, really fantastic.
Thank you, and well done.
Thanks for watching.
Vad fan hände? Nej, det var för de stängde inte dörren, så den trillade hem.
I think he's saying I don't have a door.
I just love the look on Johan's face. He's like, mate, you haven't got a door. Like, because Johan will have been pleased to beat him because he knows what a fierce competitor ExtremeE is, but he's probably going to have gone, oh, fair go. Look, if I hadn't beaten him, I'd have been a bit disappointed when he's only got one door. He could have climbed out the other side, doesn't even need to open it.
Oh, that is... the stories of this championship is just incredible. It keeps on giving, doesn't it? Heartbreak for Leduc and Price and Chip Ganassi, Loeb as well. Of course, Gutierrez didn't even get to go in the car with X44, but look, there is the JBXC team trying to bring it home. Kevin Hansen just trying to restart that car. This has been a brutal and punishing track and a brutal and punishing weekend for some in the championship, but look, doing his best to get that car home in the rain in Sardinia.
He's going to have a job to get it home before we do the podium, Jenny, at this race. They're right out on the far side of the course in the traction challenge section. I wondered, did they have a... I'm trying to see if they...
Trying to see if they had a puncture at some point.
Yeah, the front right wheel's a lot cleaner than the other wheels, but it may just be that's the way it is.
Celebration down there by the podium for Christopherson, for Taylor as well. It started out not great for them, but they've managed to bring it back, and they will deserve the celebrations as Hansen struggles to get that car back. The highs and lows of motorsport, hey, just never stops giving and taking.
Well, they're parked out on track now, so yeah, it looks okay. So it looks like Hansen's going to take a tow. Thing is, Jenny, they've secured a P3. They've gone past where Segi TV Chip Ganassi Racing were. We know that X44 stopped on the first lap, so he only had to pass where Sarah Price was to take third place.
Look, Sebastian Loeb just coming up as well on the right-hand side.
He'll want to lift back. So Loeb's, honestly, Loeb's probably going to jump in and get a tow back. What has Sarah Price... I am so gutted for this fantastic driver and her brilliant... Look at that. To see her sitting in the car like that, so down. Sarah, you're amazing, and so is Kyle, and we just want that team to keep their chin up.
Absolute heartbreak.
I'm with Matthias Ekstrom and Jutta Kleinschmidt. Guys, first time in the final and you've come second place. And without a door, Matthias, wow.
Yeah, that was a bit exciting. I felt after the pit stop, the first jump, the door popped open, and I thought that will not last long. But then through the water splashes, I was a bit careful. I didn't want to have a mud bath.
Huge congratulations, Jutta. How are you feeling?
Yeah, in one way, I am a little bit sad about myself because I missed the start by not pushing the D button. That was mega stupid. But after, actually, I think I catched quite good back. And yeah, so we are very happy because for us, it's the first time on the podium. So that was actually our aim for this race, and we made it.
Huge congratulations. Well done.
Well, congratulations to them. Everyone looks a little bit soggy, a little bit, oh wow, a little bit sandy, a little bit dirty. And you can see this big buggy coming back with some of the stricken drivers.
Yeah, I think it might have Kevin Hansen and Sebastian Loeb in it. Imagine if you're driving that little side-by-side buggy and your two passengers are, you know, two legends of motorsport. You'd be like, I'm just going to take this line here. Just going to, I'll slow down a bit here. You'd feel the pressure, wouldn't you? You must have given a driver a lift at some point, Jenny. I'm never more conscious of my own driving than if you've got someone, you know, a legendary world
Damon
champion.
Hill.
Yeah,
it was so awkward. Gave him a lift back from Silverstone, and I'm like, Damon, what's my driving like? And I was like, why am I asking him this?
I've given Johan a few lifts, and you just like, drive smooth, take the right line, hit the apex. Oh no, Sarah, I know. Don't you want to give her a hug? Like, and Kyle, and Chip.
They had such a big advantage. That's the thing. Oh, this is where the door comes off. Look, in a Michael Caine moment, it's swinging open, goes through a couple of the big bumps, and then it will come off. Oh, dear.
I thought it had tape on it, but it's not. It's the remains. Look at him looking across. That's at the finish line. That was the little glance that he gave the door. But yeah, see, I thought that was tape, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually the door straps that were hanging down. So, whew, what a mess.
RXR are the winners of the Island X Prix. You can see down there, just by the podium, everybody celebrating for that team. Another step forward in this championship. And the results are in, the official results. So 5th place for X44, heartbreak for them, and 4th place for Chip Ganassi Racing as well. JBXE classified in 3rd. 2nd place is the Apt Cupra minus a door, and in 1st it is RXR Racing. Taylor and Christopherson winning this, another X Prix under their belts, and another 25 points to lead the championship by 28.
Great job. Amazing, really. They've just got it done. After the roll on day one, tactically, they've got it right just when they needed to.
I'm with the Island X Prix winners. It is Molly and Johan. Molly, fantastic performance.
Yeah, I was really tricky out there and really tricky all weekend. So we're just very happy to be here and be in P1. It's amazing.
Johan, you pushed until the very last minute and you've done it. Congratulations, another win.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, Molly did a very good job, and then took the car for the switch, and then there was some cars having problems. So just when I heard Stefan had the problem, I just slowed down and tried to be safe, and I heard Sarah had the problem as well. So obviously I would like to push for the Super Sector, as apparently that's the main championship. But yeah, it was not possible in the wet. So but yeah, we'll try harder next time.
Listen, you've won it. Congratulations.
So that's a little nod there from Johan. He messaged earlier on to say he hadn't realised that the traction challenge, or the super sector as he called it, which is what it was previously, that the points counted towards the team's championship, which is the most important championship. So he hadn't quite got his head around that, and I think he would have liked to have realised earlier. And of course, Jenny, really, it probably wouldn't have been on even if he'd gone for it, because we saw how slippery it was.
And we saw how committed Loeb was as well. Right, let's take you back to highlights of the Island X Prix final race.
Right, start first of all. Apt Cupra left on the line. Juta's already admitted that it wasn't in gear. Then we've got to the right-hand side of the grid, look, RXR and JBXE. JBXE just plain gets in front, don't they? But it was. Oh, look at the kick on the rear of that was where the spin was. But how did Kyle LeDuc? How did Kyle LeDuc manage on that line to get out in front? It was masterful. That's what I want to see about 9 times. Yeah,
absolutely. They're such terrific races. Built up such an extensive lead. This the moment it all went wrong for the X44 car. Sebastian Loeb. Problems there. Clearly he's not going to be able to carry on. That left the way clear though, and this the difference in lines that you can take. This was the RXR versus Apt Cupra battle, and actually we hadn't seen anybody use that line a whole lot over the weekend, and it proved to be pretty successful there. So the Segi TV Chip Ganassi car. Oh, dear.
I can't, Jenny, because I know we're not going to have favourites, but tough. Sometimes we do. And what I love is a good story. And they've been these wonderful, incredibly fast attacking pairing from the start, and they get rubbish luck every time. And if you're a sports fan, everybody loves that kind of underdog, you know, they fought back to victory story. And that's what I thought this was. They were so far up the road. Johan Christopherson wasn't going to catch him, no way. And you know how highly I rate him. He wasn't going to get there, and that happens. Sometimes life isn't fair, and that's one of them.
Yeah, and that door, we race without a trace. They'll go and pick it up. They'll take it home.
They'll have to.
And it left the way for RXR to win the Island X Prix, the 3rd win of the season, and appreciation all round.
Confirmation of the top 3, as you can see, RXR, Apt Cupra and JBXE. JBXE actually didn't even make it round to the end, but by being the team that made it the furthest of those that stopped, they do end up in that spot.
Hello and welcome to the podium celebration for the ExtremeE Enel X Island X Prix in Sardinia. Let's begin the celebrations by welcoming our podium finishers to the stage. Please welcome JBXE, Apt Cupra ExtremeE, and our winners, Rosberg X Racing.
clapping, you see the flags there as well, just about to be held aloft. I wonder if we'll get another Kevin Hansen special of smashing the bottle down on the podium stage. I do hope so.
Now
Love a
please
celebration.
be upstanding for the winning team's national anthem. Congratulations to all our winners. Our dignitaries will now present the trophies. Clarice Desgeorges, Marketing and Communications Director for Zenith Watches, will now present the winning team trophy to Kimmo Limtainen, Team Principal of Rosberg X Racing.
Another one. 3 from 5. Got one event to go. Do you think they'll get 4 out of 5, Jenny? They're so impressive, aren't
Alice
they?
Berry, Event Manager, Enel X Ireland X Prix, and Giorgio Giovetti, Sports Rights Acquisition Manager, Mediaset, will now present the 3rd place trophies to Kevin Hansen and Michaela Arlen-Kutalinsky of JBXE.
3 podiums in a row for them. It's an impressive run. That's Tiny Temper, if you're wondering. Oh, I like that. Let's get the stars out. If you don't know Tiny Temper is, you might have to get on the Google. He's got so many clothes, he keeps them at his aunt's house, Jenny.
Really? Good knowledge.
Have a listen. He's done some great work. Tiny Temper as well is a huge fan of cars. Absolutely massive fan of cars and motorsport generally. So, yeah, great to have him along at the Ireland X Prix.
Head of E Motorsport NLX, will now present the 1st place trophies to Johan Kristoffersen and Molly Taylor of Rosberg X Racing.
Winners collecting their trophies, all sustainable trophies as well. Beautiful design this weekend. Holding them aloft. Lovely touch to get the kids in there as well. The future of motorsport, of course. And is this the moment you run and hide?
It's now time for your Moe moment.
I think they're all so muddy already. Like, certainly, Ekstrom's missing a door, wasn't he? I don't think he's going to be worried about a bit of champagne. A proper champagne fight, a brilliant celebration from another mad race weekend with ExtremeE. Third win for RXR. Just, I mean, you know, we're joking about Tiny Temper. Find his lyrics if you don't know what we were talking about. But Kristoffersen and Taylor have got so many trophies, they'll need to keep some of them at somebody else's house at this rate. Amazing. Little drink to celebrate the work.
And you said the Hansen family are in town this weekend in Sardinia. Yeah. So I saw Kevin run over to the crowd. I wonder if he go for the folks that are a bit of a spray in the
Susan,
face.
almost certainly. And Timmy also, remember Timmy not making it through to the final with Katie and Andretti United winners last time out, not in the final this time. Still heartbreak for some teams. Just, it was so close for Chip Ganassi Racing, but it wasn't to be, was it?
Yeah, the highs, the lows, the champagne, the glory, those moments that remain in your mind forever. They're so special, the hard work that goes into making these events happen. And look what it's done for the championship. Out ahead, it's RXR on 129 points. It's 113 points for X44. And then Andretti United on 93. Just 1 point separate them from JBXE.
So the lead was down to 8 points. It's now at 16, and I'm assuming that includes the 5 points which Loeb will have won for the Continental Traction Challenge. So actually those points critical in keeping them anywhere near. But Jenny, looking at what's happened here today, this weekend, the ups and downs, RXR are not coming to the UK for the final X Prix, the Jurassic X Prix, thinking this is in the bag. They're coming here thinking we need a perfect weekend. They've had shockers themselves, and they will know it can happen to them too.
Risk versus reward. We talk about that a lot in this championship, but I tell you what, they've got to find a way. They've got to find a way of getting the car round safely and managing to get themselves into the championship.
Yeah, brilliant event here at round 4. We are, of course, heading to round 5 next. Fist pump for Kristoffersen. Won 3 from 4 events. The 5th one recently announced the Jurassic X Prix will be on the south coast of England.
The Prix is done. Next, we head to the UK for the Jurassic X Prix, where we will highlight massive loss of biodiversity. Who will be our champions?
There's Nico Rosberg up onto the podium with Molly Taylor and Johan Kristoffersen. Tell you what, if he hasn't got them under tight contracts already, he needs to get on with it, doesn't he? It's got to be done. An absolutely epic weekend of racing here in Sardinia. We talk about roller coasters and not just the track, but the emotions as well. How unlucky was Segui Chip Ganassi Racing. Sebastian Loeb, they were 8 points up and they've ended up 16 points down.
Yeah, absolute disastrous for them. But you know what? Everyone's come here and they've seen and highlighted the impact of global warming, of the environment, and they've also done a cracking job in this place making racing come alive.
An unstoppable inferno burns within us. Take this fight to a new battleground. The island.
She's not dropped it, she's spun it, she rolls! Cristina Gutierrez is off! She's into the trees! It's one of the biggest accidents of the season. X44 are out. No! Broken steering!
RXR win the Island X Prix.